Apologies, I was getting some feedback. Hello, thank you so much for joining us today and being here to celebrate the 10th Annual Global Accessibility Awareness Day. We have such a great program in store for you this hour. What you're about to see are recorded segments from our lineup of speakers. However, towards the end of the hour, myself and several of the speakers will be here for a live Q&A segment. So please send us your questions throughout the hour, and we'll be sure to answer them at that time. We have captions available in Zoom, as well as at the link that I will put in the chat. And all segments will have ASL, including the videoed segment. To get us started, we have three amazing speakers that are both WID board members and global experts in digital accessibility, discussing accessibility as a business imperative. Our first speaker will be Neil Milliken from Atos. After Neil, we'll have Tolly Bray from Wells Fargo, followed by Francis West from Francis West Co. We hope you enjoy today's presentation. Let's get started.
Neil Milliken, Global Head of Inclusion, Corporate Social Responsibility for Atos.
I've been working in the field of assistive tech and accessibility for 20 years. Atos, which is the company that I work for, is a large digital transformation company. So we have a number of activities around accessibility. We have our group accessibility program, which is essentially our corporate-wide program looking at embedding accessibility practices through procurement, through talent and hiring, looking at culture, training, partnerships, etc. And then we also have what we call our accessibility practice, which is where the experts sit within our organization to do digital accessibility, whether that be supporting assistive technologies, doing web accessibility audits, or helping people and projects with coding and design, etc., plus contributing to training, skills development. We're active members of the IAAP, signed up to the ILO GBDN Business Disability Forum, members of the Valuable 500. We know that accessibility and disability drives innovation. It's something that we have embraced as an organization. It's written into our raison d'etre. We're a French company, so it's our sense of purpose. There's lots of benefits to being more accessible. One is our customers want it. So we're attracting more customers by being more accessible, and we're helping them attract more customers because that we're a business-to-business organization rather than a business-to-consumer organization. We're attracting customers on their behalf, or we're serving customers on their behalf. Those larger customers also come to us because they know that we can do that for them. But there's also a benefit in terms of retention. You know, we do this for our own people too. So we're better at retaining our staff. We're better at keeping them healthy, engaged, productive, etc. And it means that we're an attractive employer to work for. It's really as simple as that. If you're not inclusive, then you're going to be less attractive as a proposition for attracting talented employees. I think it's really important that organizations don't just follow standards and guidelines. Standards and guidelines are really important, but you also need to test with real users in real life scenarios. And that means real users with real disabilities and real users of assistive technologies. So working with organizations like WID is a really important part of the product development and service development process. An investment in accessible technology will give you a good return. So firstly, your users will like it. You will have more successful transactions, less abandoned transactions too. So I'm not just talking about financial transactions as like abandoned shopping carts in a service orientated business. So for example, if you get the accessibility right, you're going to get less calls to the service desk. So you're reducing costs. So that's a benefit. You're also making stuff that people like to use. When you're thinking about accessibility, you're thinking about design, you're thinking about how people are going to be using this and designing it to enable people to be successful in what you want them to do. That's going to do things like improve your net promoter score if you're in marketing. And these are things that are really important to organizations. They're going to enable you to attract more customers. They're going to enable you to do the things that you are required to do by society. It's the right thing to do. But when you do it, it also has all of these fringe benefits. Lots of real benefits in terms of practical technology and human use cases for why you want to do accessibility. You know, lots of organizations have woken up to the fact that they have a responsibility and that investors in these organizations are also looking to find companies that are truly delivering on what they claim to be their corporate values. So really need to walk the talk.
Tally Bray, Executive Vice President, Head of Technology Diverse Segments, Representation and Inclusion for Wells Fargo.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really great to be here with all of you today. I have the honor of serving on the WID Board of Directors. Wells Fargo and WID have a very strong partnership that spans more than 2 decades. Over the years, we have provided board members for WID, programming partnerships, technical expertise. Most recently, we collaborated on a machine learning project to improve economic outcomes for people with disabilities. So there's a strong support and engagement and recognition of the incredibly important work that WID does within Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo and Company is a leading financial services company that has approximately 1.9 trillion in assets and proudly serves 1 in 3 US households and employs close to approximately 268,000 people. So we have the opportunity and the responsibility to effectively touch many, many lives across the United States. We are committed to financially empowering and employing people with disabilities. We are number 1 of the top 16 companies for people with disabilities 2020 National Organization on Disability report. We're really excited to honor Global Accessibility Awareness Day and continue to advocate for equal opportunities and increased access for people with disabilities. And so I'm really proud to share that inclusion efforts over the past 5 years at Wells have resulted in more than a 20% average increase in disability hiring and over 15,000 employees who self-identify as people with disabilities. More than 9,000 of our employees, including with people with disabilities and allies, belong to Disability Connection. That's an employee resource network at Wells Fargo. And what this really points to is that accessibility is foundational for us to work with this community externally and with the internal community. And so you hear a lot of people talk about a digital first strategy. We also have to have an accessible first strategy. And that is a huge part of what we do. We have an in-house accessibility consulting organization. It's called IHAC. And that is a group of industry accessibility experts. And they build in accommodations from the very beginning of every project, every software development effort that we conceive of to ensure that our digital properties are available for everyone. When accessibility is considered early and throughout design, all customers, including people with disabilities, can better access products and services. So this drives positive market outcomes beyond the disability community and beyond the employees that we support. Our global approach that we take within technology, we piloted a new program to hire neurodiverse employees with software engineering, automation, data science, and cyber skills in the summer of 2020. We began creating a recruitment and hiring process that is inclusive of people with disabilities, so we can tap into the potential of a very talented and underrepresented population. Our current employees have expressed incredible pride in Wells Fargo and technology for committing to this kind of program. So we intend to continue to expand this program based on learnings from the pilots with the goal of having 1% of all technology employees hired through the neurodiversity program by the start of 2023.
Frances West, founder, Frances West Co., Chair of Strategy and Development Committee for the Global Initiative for Inclusive Information Communication Technologies.
This topic with technology is definitely a global topic. And of course, World Institute on Disability, or WID, has always been a proponent and also has done a lot of work in making sure that whether it's at the policy level or at the digital accessibility level, that the world understand the power of the technology and also the promise that it can bring along if we design in the accessibility into its thinking. So this is a great way of celebrating this day, especially with organizations such as WID. Global Accessibility Awareness Day is being celebrated globally, and I actually will be giving the interview to, for example, the companies, large companies, including like Alibaba, Baidu, and Tencent in China, and they are celebrating GAAP just like what we are doing here. Frankly, it has just become a calling for me to really remind all the technologists out there that technology is there to serve people, not the other way around. And if we all agree that technology is there to serve people, then it has to be all people, not just some people. And with that kind of a logic, then accessibility becomes a must do, not a nice to have. So the design experience is very important, but a lot of designers are actually not very familiar. Actually, they know very little to nothing about accessibility. We had to really help the young designer, the cool designer, the creative designer to understand accessibility, the color contrast or the use of font sizes as a part of in addition to artistic expression, as part of the accessibility expression, and blending those together. And that really helped to kind of build in, again, accessibility into the design process. And it's actually a mindset, accessibility, there's no endpoint, right? I mean, it really should be a continuous improvement. And I always say accessibility is just like privacy and security. You never say, okay, enough privacy, I'm done, or enough security, I'm done, right? Then we should dedicate our time and energy to solve the problem or to improve the situation, and not expecting it to be very expedient and just check the box and get it done and move on. When it comes down to accessibility testing, that is to me the most important part actually of the entire accessibility discussion, because in the end it really has to meet that particular user or that particular constituent's needs and wants. And I will never be so kind of presumptuous to say that, for example, if I'm a sighted programmer, that I can create a user experience on my website or mobile that can delight the blind person and the nuances of the blind person experience. So to me, that is the ultimate a test of our commitment to the user experience is through user testing.
Great perspective. We are so grateful for the expertise on the WID board and their wealth of experience that really helps focus our work in accessibility and universal design. Next up, we have WID's technology specialist, Dustin Snowatsky, who will show you all an overview of accessibility guidelines, some examples, and then show you a user testing scenario on a poorly built website and a well-built website, something we experience all the time doing testing at WID. I hope you enjoy.
Hi, my name is Dustin Snowatsky, and I am WID's technology specialist. The topic of my presentation is a brief overview of digital accessibility best practices. Digital accessibility is important for individuals, businesses, and society. The web is an increasingly important resource in many aspects of life, including education, employment, government, commerce, healthcare, recreation, and more. It is essential that all digital products and services are accessible to provide equal access and equal opportunity to everyone. Access to information and communications technologies is defined as a basic human right in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, or the UNCRPD. What is WCAG, or WCAG? The Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, provides a framework for making web content more accessible. They consist of 12 guidelines organized under 4 principles. These 4 principles maintain that websites must be perceivable. Can this information be perceived by everyone? Operable. Can this information be accessed by everyone? Understandable. Can this information be understood by everyone? And robust. Is this information available to everyone? These guidelines were created by the World Wide Web Consortium, or the W3C, which is an international organization dedicated to creating web standards. Moving on to A, AA, and AAA levels. A, or single A, is viewed as the bare minimum level of requirement, which all websites, apps, documents, and other digital content should adhere to. AA is viewed as the acceptable level of accessibility for many online services. AAA is the highest level of conformance and is viewed as the gold standard level of accessibility. Alternative text. By default, images are often voiced as simply graphic by a screen reader or by the file name that they were uploaded as, which is almost always not useful or intuitive. When an image is described by a screen reader, that indicates someone has added alt text to the image. Alt text should be a succinct verbal description of the image. Generally, alt text descriptions do not have to be more than a sentence. Some screen readers will cut off alt text after 125 characters, so it's advisable to keep it to that character count or less. If an image is purely decorative, like a divider, a spacer, a border, etc., and doesn't add any meaning or context to the page or the content, then it doesn't need alt text. The main questions you should ask yourself are, what is the purpose of this image? What message is it supposed to convey? And what information is lost without seeing this image? So here is alt text example number 1. The good alt text example is a middle-aged man in a sports jacket and multicolored tie stands in front of a railing with his hands resting in his pockets. And a bad alt text example for this image would be just simply middle-aged man. The first alt text example includes relevant visual information within one sentence, and the second alt text example describes the subject of the image but may not give the user necessary information depending on the context of the entire page. There's no need to say photo or image of because that's inferred from the image tag set in the backend code. And here's alt text example number 2. Good alt text for this image would be a ladybug crawling across a leaf. Bad alt text for the same image would be just simply bug.jpg or JPG. Next is minimum contrast ratio requirements. Here are a few examples of text with almost exactly 4.5 to 1 contrast ratio, which is the minimum. So here we have a gray text on a white background. Next is purple text on a white background. Then blue text on a gray background. And finally, red text on a yellow background. For many of us, some of these color combinations are not very readable. That is why 4.5 to 1 is the minimum required by WCAG guidelines. Large text contrast requirements. Large text is easier to read, so the contrast requirement is reduced to 3 to 1. WCAG guidelines defines large text as text that is 18 point and larger, or 14 point and larger if it is bold. For example, here is a gray 18-point text on a white background and purple 14-point bold text on a white background. Again, while this meets the guidelines, it may not necessarily be readable to everyone. Evaluating accessibility. Preliminary checks. Even if you don't know anything about accessibility, you can check some aspects of accessibility, which leads us into the next entry, which is tools. This includes web accessibility evaluation tools, software, or online services that help determine if web content meets accessibility standards. Evaluation and reports. Conformance evaluation determines how well web pages or applications meet accessibility standards. People. Getting the right people and skills involved makes your accessibility evaluations more effective. And finally, standards. And this includes conditions for writing test results and rules. When developing websites or redesigning a website or a web application, Evaluate accessibility early and throughout the development process to identify problems when it is easier to address them. There are tools that help with evaluation. However, no tool alone can determine if a site meets accessibility standards. Knowledgeable human analysis is required to determine if a site is accessible. User testing. The United States Census Bureau estimates that 1 in 5 people in the United States has a disability. Many of them opt out of using a variety of products and services simply because they were not created with their disability in mind. User testing provides a unique opportunity for companies to better understand how people with disabilities access their products and services, learn what issues they encounter, and improve accessibility. Why is user testing important? First-round website and app design may not be perfect for text-to-speech and related software. Reviewing, testing, and adjusting digital access is a must. The customer knows best. Blind and low vision individuals have valuable experience and feedback. In most cases, far more than sighted users using specialized software. User testing demonstrates companies' effort to maximize access with legal benefits. What is a screen reader? Screen readers are software applications that attempt to convey what can be viewed on a display to their users via non-visual means. In the next segment, one of our usability testers, Christina, will demonstrate screen reader usage on a frustratingly inaccessible website.
My name is Christina Clift, and testing websites for WID is a awesome opportunity because often I encounter websites that are not accessible, and that often can close doors to valuable resources, programs, and services that I want to access, as well as others that might have visual disabilities. So doing the testing to learn how to teach others to do accessible websites will hopefully open doors and make for an easier experience in surfing the web.
Can you try to find and read the quote on this homepage?
Is this accessible? Same navigate list of 6 items. Is this accessible? Same page link skip the content. Navigation region list of 6 items. Link card. Link checkout. Visited link contact us. Visited current page link main. Link my account. Link shop list end navigation region end. Button. Visited current page link in accessible web.site. Visited link in accessible web.site. Is this accessible? Navigation region list of 6 items. Link card. Link checkout. Visited link contact us. Visited current page link main. Link my account. Link shop list end navigation region end main region article heading level 1 main pixels Eva Liges 5988689 graphic pixels Emiliano Arano 36083111 graphic by Lem Sisse heading level 2 it is.
Okay.
Heading level 2 this is an example of low contrast
This is an
text.
example of low contrast text.
Article end. Heading level 2 this is a quote by Lem Sisse.
It's by Lem Sisse. I'm assuming that's the one you're looking for.
So you would associate this is an example of high contrast text with the quote because that was read immediately after the quote.
Yeah.
So next, can you navigate to the store and try to buy soap?
Okay.
Is this accessible? Same page link skipped. Links list S shops enter. Page has 5 shop. Shop order combo box default sorting. Wrapping to top. Products.
So it's not
same page links. Products. Same page navigate list of link card. Link checkout. Visited link visited link main. Link my account. Visited link shop. List end. Navigation button. Visited link in accessible web. Blank. Visited link in accessible blank. Is this accessible? Nav list link checkout. Visited link my account. List navigation main heading level 1 shop. List link sale. List of 3 item combo box default sorting. Shop order. Combo box default sort enter. Main products. Showing all 3 results. Shop order. Combo list of 3 heading level 2 link sanitizer. Link $10 link add sanitize link sale. Heading level 2 link bath bombs.
Bath bombs. All right.
Link link add link sale. Heading level 2 link dispenser. Link add list end. May all rights link proudly powered by WordPress. Products button. Shop order wrapping to top but back button. Products button. Shop order combo box sort by popularity.
Okay, popularity.
Enter main.
This combo box
Main region heading level 1 shop showing all 3.
What's happening when you when you use that combo box?
It's not
Button.
reading them as you arrow up and down, like what your options are. So you're having to go out of it and then come back in to figure out what it changed to.
Right.
So, yeah.
Main region. Main escape.
Um,
Shop order combo box. Enter. Main region. Shop order S. Skip to toolbar. Address and escape. Skip to banner region. Navigate escape.
didn't work.
Product. Same page link. Skip. Button. Shop order wrapping to top. Button. Back. Button to activate.
Unless it's that mythical button.
Showing all shop order combo box sort by list of heading level 2 link sanit link $7 link list end main reach all right.
So it actually is dispenser.
Main list link add link dollar
Yep.
add bath bombs link
yeah,
link
I
link
know.
sale heading level 2 link dispenser. Enter. Dispenser blank. Figure link 05 slash soap.
That's the
Figure end link figure end. Heading figure end.
I was listening to see. I
Main
thought it
region.
said soap.
Escape. Same page dispenser.
Did you hear soap anywhere?
Link skip to
I thought I
content
did.
navigation
And so when I
region.
went back,
List of
it said
6
soap
items.
again, so,
Link cart.
okay.
Link checkout. Visited link contact. Visited link main.
It said
Link
something
my
about
button.
picture.
Dispenser quantity edit spin box.
There's
1.
dispenser,
Die.
so-
Dispense same page link skip to content. Dispenser same page link skip to content. Navigation region list of 6 items. Link cart. Link checkout. Visited link contact us. Visited link main.
Yeah.
Figure end heading level 1 dispenser $10.00 $5.0050 in stock dispenser quantity edit spin box 1 add to cart button category link uncategorized additional information tab link additional information reviews 0 tab link reviews 0 heading level 2 additional information table with 2 columns and 1 rows weight 1 kg table end heading level 2 related products list of 2 items link sale heading
Okay,
bath.
got it. So do you want me to add that to my cart, even though it's high price soap?
Dispenser add to cart enter add to location list of 6 items link cart.
Oh, you're
Well, I
looking
was
for the cart.
looking like under the cart to see if it would show like cart 1 item, but it just says cart.
Link
Right.
check.
Is that what you typically look for?
Yeah.
Let you know if you actually added it or not?
Yeah, I look for that number to change. So I'm gonna have to go to my cart, I guess, and see. Okay.
Same link cart. Enter. Banner read. Table with blank product price quantity subtotal link remove the site visited link 1 blank visited link dispenser.
Oh, I added it one time.
$5 dispenser quantity edit spin box 2
Oh no. Okay. There's 2 right there.
$10 point apply coupon button update cart button on the
It made it in there. But it said something so quick, I think it was just changing the page. But it stayed also on the same product page. So that made me wonder whether it was added or not. And typically if it stays on the same page, you just click to add to cart, then I would think it hadn't. And there was no audio symbol up there where, it says cart 1 item added or whatever.
Go to proceed to checkout and let's see what happens.
Update cart button table heading level 2 cart totals. Table subtotal $5 shipping list of 1 flat rate $5.00 list end shipping to MD link change address total $10 table link proceed to checkout enter proceed to checkout link checkout first name star page has 7 reach checkout button first name star edit enter CARSTIA last name CIFT company name optional.
So part of it on that one is
checkout.
Let me see if I would have been able to find that easy.
Order received heading level 1. Checkout. Order received heading level 1. Thank you. Your order has been heading level.
It definitely didn't. It definitely didn't sound like you were going to another page to let you know that you finished checking out. Sometimes you get like a little clicking noise. Sometimes it's a little bit of a feedback within the browser, but I didn't hear anything on this one. It was similar to the same experience when you added it to the cart. But there wasn't.
And how about the product itself? Any issues there?
So the product itself, the tag of the picture, I think it is, it said 0.5 and then it said soap. So the label of the product was dispenser, but then the label of the picture was soap. So you didn't know whether it was a soap dispenser or just a bar of soap. So the two didn't connect together, like what you were looking for and what you were seeing a picture of.
Now, let's take a look at what this experience would be like for our user if the website was accessible.
Visited link in accessible web.site. Is this accessible? Navigation region list of 5 items. Visited current page link home. Visited link shop. Link my
and I noticed
account.
a home link
Visited link
this time. That was
contact
great.
us. Visited link art list and navigation region and main region article heading level 1 home. A middle-aged man in a sports jacket and multicolored tie stands in front of a railing with his hands resting in his pockets. Graphic. A ladybug crawling across a leaf. Graphic. The moon tells the sky tells the sea tells the tide, and the tide tells me. Quote by Lem Sissay. Graphic. Heading level 2. This is an example of high contrast text. Heading level 2. This is an example of low contrast text. Article and search.
So the part about the the quote that you had written in gibberish last time, it's actually accessible this time with the pictures. So that was kind of cool.
Links list S shop enter.
So I'm going to use my browser links list, which is usually the quickest one.
Page has 4 region shop.
I'm going to hit S for soap or shop, and let's see if I can find my soap.
Products. Same page products. Same page products. Same page visited link in accessible web blank visited link in access blank. Is this accessible? Navigate list of 5 visited link home. Visited current page link my account. Visited link contact us. Visited link card list end. Navigation remain read heading level 1 shop. Showing all 3 results.
It's got 3 results.
Shop order. Combo box default sorting. List of 3 link sale. List of 3 link sale. Heading level 2 link $7.0 link add bath. Heading level 2 link sanitizer. Link ads visited link sale. Visited heading level 2 link soap dispenser.
Soap dispenser.
Link $10 enter. Products visited heading level 2 link soap dispenser. So
got it and
soap dispenser heading level 1. Heading level 1 soap dispenser $10.00 $5.0049 in stock soap dispenser quantity edit spin box 1 add to cart. So
the great thing, it's in stock, it's on and it's $10.
Soap dispenser 49 in stock $10.00 $5.00 add to cart button enter main region add cart. Soap dispenser quantity edit spin box 1 enter main region 2 column 1 row 3 cart Google Chrome edit coupon code type in text
coupon code.
Apply coupon button to update cart button to activate shipping column 2 row 2 change address link proceed to checkout link enter checkout page has checkout first name star edit enter main CARISTINA last name ICLIFT company name option United States US ship to a different address heading level 3 checkbox not checked to check order notes optional edit contains text type in text privacy policy link place order button to active enter checkout page has 6 regions 7 headings and 23 links heading level 1 order received thank you
Awesome. Okay, great. Much more positive experience on knowing that I checked out.
Thank you so much for joining us, Christina, and for demonstrating screen reader usage. Next, you'll hear from one of our clients, TrackPhone Wireless, who will speak about user testing as a business imperative.
Hello, my name is Jim Zimmerman. I'm the Senior Officer of Customer Care and Operations. And I've worked for TrackPhone for 20 years. My responsibility is to support the teams that provide our products and services to our customers through design, automation, customer care, and support.
I'm Elizabeth Vega. I'm an Associate Vice President, UX Design and Improvement.
We actually realized that accessibility was a concern for TrackPhone. It started out as a compliance opportunity and then ultimately transformed into a mission and an alignment with a cultural transformation that our company was going through, along with leadership, our track values, and focus on customer centricity.
If you're a company offering services digitally, services or products that involve digital experiences, you have 2 choices, right? You get dragged into this kicking and screaming, or you dive in. And kicking and screaming, that approach will, we kind of tried it. It's much more expensive and much more wearing on employees than kind of doing this more planfully and letting employees get involved up front and learn how to do it and approach it with a solid plan in place. That is cheaper. It is a better experience for customers, and it's a better experience for the employees all around. So I do want to emphasize how much pain we had at the beginning, right? Like, we didn't do everything right. We faced a lot of defects, and that was really a wake-up call. We have to do something different to get our hands around this.
I think the other important thing that we learned through struggle was that accessibility wasn't a single person's responsibility in the company. It wasn't necessarily a department's responsibility. It was a company's responsibility. And when we were able to push out the need and work with other organizations and basically start training everyone on how to think about accessibility design, our testing and QA department, our developers, our marketing department, what we found is that we had an entire organization that was willing to help us get better for the right reasons and align with collaboration, education, and it really took us to a different level.
And marshaling the resources to do something different, to change our approach, we really relied on the usability studies that we had done with WID and the videos showing the struggles. When you take a video and you put it in front of a team of developers and executive leaders, and they see people crying, trying to get a product activated, everybody kind of realizes, okay, we need to approach this differently. And it was really tremendously useful to have the kind of impactful studies and video to share to get everybody lined up. Even developers who thought that they knew how to code, it's really helpful to see the different kind of struggles people have. And now we do testing with WID once a quarter, and we still find things that we didn't think of. So that has been a really useful part of the journey for us in terms of changing the perspective and completely changing the approach. Instead of throw it out there and then fix it if it doesn't work, we had to just completely rethink how we did it.
Before, we would kind of make products and force it into the marketplace. By working with WID and usability studies, right, what we could do is we could modify our user experiences prior to releasing them into production and have a much more successful customer engagement and deliver our services more effectively. You can't underemphasize how doing inclusive design and figuring out easier ways for customers to activate a cell phone, engage with your websites, better color contrasts and larger text. It helps every customer across every segment. So it's really made us better with our automation. It's improved our design, and we wouldn't necessarily be able to see that if we weren't having the usability studies and actually sitting down with customers and getting that proper feedback, right? And really candid feedback on where the opportunities actually are for us to improve our customer engagement and channels.
We do things like auditing, like automated scanning, like training, like usability, to complement each other to make sure that we have a better chance of getting it right. We even have a supplier management program now where we let potential suppliers know up front that there are some expectations around accessibility, so that we don't bring them on board and then hit them with something that for them is sort of an expensive and last minute need. So we're going as deeply as we can into our own processes and our suppliers' processes, so that nobody has a surprise and everybody can plan for what they need to do, because we've realized that planning for it means it doesn't have to be such a big deal, right? It's not a big deal if you don't have to fix something that you broke in production. We did our accessibility summits, so we invited partners to tell us what they need, instead of just guessing at what we think you need. We invited partners in for them to tell us.
Our partnership with WID has really helped TrackFund and our customers through identifying opportunities, realizing potential, and then ultimately delivering on solutions for real customer struggles.
One of the big things WID helped us with is just in recruiting the right audiences to engage in our processes. We didn't necessarily know how to do that. And we were sensitive to the idea that we need to test with a range of different disabilities, but we didn't know how to go about that. And WID helped us hugely. And of course, these segments have very different needs. So people who maybe have dexterity issues have completely different needs than blind users. And we didn't always get that at the beginning. We certainly get it now. And WID was instrumental in helping us get that and understanding what was needed for each of these different segments in order for us to get better.
We really feel that designing for simplicity, inclusion is really a competitive advantage, specifically in our space. It is one way for us to stand out and deliver our services to areas of the marketplace that may be overlooked. It's made us better. It's helped with our culture. It's brought collaboration, design, and testing all focused, and it certainly aligns with our overall mission. So we see it as a business competitive advantage, along with really serving to a great purpose, which has been a really great alignment with everything TrackPhone and our cultural transformation over the last 5 years.
There is another benefit that is actually important, and that is the kinds of things that customers need for an accessible process in a digital channel are also the kinds of things that automated monitoring software needs. So it's really hard for us as a company, to truly understand the success rates of things that happen in the websites, unless you have some kind of monitoring software out there looking at it. Exactly the kinds of things we need to make something really accessible, those kinds of softwares need in order to operate well. So that also helped us have better visibility into things that were not working.
It's extremely important for us to be a low-cost operator, and we tend to try and automate as many processes as possible in order to be much more efficient. And it allows us to be innovative and focus on improving our voice experience, chat, and other innovative technologies that our competitors may not necessarily focus on. So it's been a great experience overall, because it allows us to be both innovative and focus on really delivering simplified and successful customer experiences.
Employees who are engaged in this really feel strongly about it. People want to do this, and it makes them feel like, you know, they have something that's kind of bigger than themselves that they're contributing to that is important.
Once we realize that this isn't just a compliance opportunity, once we got beyond the compliance order, we actually realized that it is a great engagement opportunity. It is a great growth engine for ourselves, and it's a great motivator of our employee base. So when you tie all those things together, it was extremely. It's been a great experience, and we look forward to it in the future.
All right, so our first question today was from Sarah, and she asked, is there a way to test your own website to see if it's as bad as the simulation that we showed? And I'm actually going to ask Dustin to chime in first on that, but Telly and Francis, feel free to answer any questions that come up. Thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you so much, Kat. And thank you so much for the question, Sarah. This is a great first question. So my answer is there are a lot of automated evaluation tools that exist online for checking websites. And we would typically recommend some of the more established checkers like Wave or the Axe Dev tools by DQ. However, with that said, no tool alone can determine if a site meets accessibility standards. Knowledgeable human evaluation is required to determine if a site is fully accessible. And as an example, accessibility checkers can tell you when alt text is missing or added to a photo, but it can't tell you if that alt text is usable or if it's written in a way that people can understand and that covers the visual information.
That is absolutely a great answer. Awesome. I have a couple questions here geared at business, and we have Elizabeth, Francis, and Telly. So I'm going to ask this one. Why don't businesses do usability testing right away? It's a hard question to answer, isn't it? And I think Elizabeth spoke to this a little bit in her segment. And my answer to this question is, I think that we don't educate our programmers or executives about this issue well enough. And so I think, there's a little bit of, you don't know what you don't know, to that question.
Would you like us to weigh in?
Yes, please do.
Okay, great. Yeah. So hi, I'm Tally Bray. She, hers. I'm from Wells Fargo. I think you heard from me earlier. What I would share is that often, I think in organizations, certainly in large organizations, supporting sort of diverse needs can often be viewed as something that is taken after a product is designed and developed, either because, I think to your comment, diverse needs aren't understood, and or there are, I will say, erroneous cost considerations. But what we do know is that when accessibility is not considered at the forefront, it will actually have the opposite impact with right from a cost perspective and from a product performance perspective, with significant increases in expense with rework. And so ultimately you are creating a less effective product that is more expensive, and you've certainly delivered a less accessible experience. We know that up to 25% of the U.S. population has some form of disability, ranging from common challenges like color blindness to low vision, or more complex challenges with mobility and complete vision loss. And ensuring that our customers can, regardless of what their abilities are, can interact and engage for us with financial services is critical for independence and creates loyalty. And good customer experience is beneficial for all of our customers. So that is why we are sort of making a very concerted effort internally and pivoting to recognizing that orienting ourselves to deliver accessible experiences at the start of product design, product development, and including sort of test-driven development practices around accessibility through the product lifecycle is extremely valuable, not only for the disability community, but for all of our customers, and ultimately ends up developing and delivering a more cost-effective and more accessible product.
Hi, this is Frances, and I was also in the earlier video and would like to add to the comment that Tali just made. I think there's also a maturity kind of factor at play here. If you look at the kind of the technology evolution, the what we call the B2B business, the back-end business actually has been in play for a few decades now. So for companies like company like financial services, like a bank, they actually pay a lot more attention, for example, to testing methodologies and all that. And I think in the last 10, 15 years, you see the emergence of what we call the B2C, the consumer-based technology, right? So a lot of our user experience on the iPhone, and that industry came out very quickly. And then the whole kind of a mindset is, okay, let's just get the product out quickly. So we went from, very kind of studied development life cycle to these agile development, fast, quick sprint and here and there. So I think, but what happened is, sure, you can get a product out quickly, but then you're not testing. For example, you're not building some of the discipline in there. I think for a while it was okay because people are very enthusiastic about, oh, let me get my hands on this new app, so new is the next shining object. But then over time, I think very quickly people realize when you just go for the speed and efficiency, I mean, the speed actually, just on the speed, you actually compromise the experience, potentially a segment of a population. So I think as a technology, especially what I call the human facing or human experience apps and applications, more thought has to come into play. And that's when the diversity of a tester, remediators, or designers or developers have to come into play. So I'm hopeful that with just the user experience themselves and also the social media recognition and also promotion of the equity and equality, then the technology company will learn faster and quicker that this is actually a necessary step, that one cannot just shortchange it.
Thank you so much. Great answers. I really appreciate it. We have another question from Victoria. I'm a sole proprietor with not a lot of money to spend on my website, but I want to be accessible. Where do you recommend a tiny company like mine start? Well, I'm serious here. You should contact me at kat@wid.org. We customize services for everybody. We can make sure that we meet your budget needs, because ultimately our goal is to make sure companies have accessible websites, and we will work with you to do just an internal review or a very small testing for not a lot of money to make sure that your site is accessible. Absolutely. And I have one more question here, and I think this is also to business. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the work you do uniquely prepares your company to implement accessibility? Do any of our speakers have a response for this one? Go ahead, Elizabeth. Yes, absolutely. You are muted.
There we go. You can hear me now. So in my area, we have UX design under our umbrella, and we have done a lot of work to get training for the designers. I think Francis pointed out that a lot of designers are not very knowledgeable about accessibility. So one of the first things we did was make sure that everybody on that team went through training and understood what are the basic techniques for making digital properties accessible. We also trained the developers, and what we also found was really very important was training the testers, because that was a step that we kept missing or that we weren't doing right. And even though we were working at it, we were still getting defects in production because we didn't have a testing team that really understood how to use the technology and to test effectively with it.
Absolutely, great answer. I agree, training is really important. Go ahead, Sally.
Yeah, so what I would say, I think everyone that's certainly on this call appreciates that what I would say for us, ensuring that our customers, right, all of our customers can successfully manage banking online is a really core objective. And so we have really integrated the idea of accessibility, as I sort of mentioned earlier, into our product design. So we have an accessibility team that is part of our digital strategy and platform and innovation organization. That's a center of execution. And that organization is really responsible for driving accessible experiences, providing specialized accessibility consultation, leading like sprint level accessibility validation during the agile life cycle, and supporting evolving governance and regulatory changes. I think to Francis's earlier comment, we are a very large organization and we are a mature organization. So we have the capability to sort of dedicate this focus, and it's even an evolution for us. But we're recognizing that we need to integrate accessibility within the overall program life cycle, at the front end. So as our developers, as our test engineers, as our product designers are thinking about product, it's integrated from the beginning. So we're developing and launching to the latest accessibility standards. And then additionally, we perform comprehensive accessibility testing of all of our digital properties, using tools, some of the tools that were discussed here. I would also say that for large companies that work with a lot of software vendors, we have to work with those software vendors to ensure that they are adhering to the same level of accessibility that we are. And that's also a big challenge, right? Because we have legal agreements with these software vendors. They may be looking at different levels of accessibility. And so that's another area of focus for us.
Can I just give a plug to Wells Fargo? I don't know, Tali, you know this or not, but I actually hosted a 3-day session of Wells Fargo executives back in 2015. They came to Austin, Texas, the IBM design headquarters. And that was like beginning of the design thinking, design methodology. So we structured a 3-day all the way from using the IBM design thinking, how we implement that into the IBM portfolio, and share with the Wells Fargo team, including some of the new tech tooling, because I think one of the questions that came up, like, how do I make things accessible if I have small budget? I mean, believe it or not, large company like IBM and Wells Fargo, we too have a lot of budget pressure. Yeah. And then also, if you think about it's a worldwide development, we have like 200,000 developers. How do you train them? You cannot train them without some tooling. I still remember one of my members, one of my employees said to me, tools, not rules. We talked about WCAG 2.0, all these rules. I said tools, but not rules. So I said, okay. So we actually share with them, and a lot of the IBM's automated tooling for testing and remediation of accessibility is actually open source. So, but anyway, just going back to the point that it is one thing I love to hear. I mean, the track phone, you guys talked about. It really is a cultural transformation. Once you get it, it's almost like religion. I don't know whether I should say religion or not. It could be politically incorrect. Oh, well, it's like you believe or you don't believe. But once you believe, it's like you see everything differently. And then you have to be patient. You cannot be right. There's no end on accessibility. It's just always a beginning. So have patience, and then but accumulate your knowledge. Like the journey that Wells Fargo, like I said, I can date back. I still have that presentation, from 2015. So Tali, one of these days, maybe we can go through that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm recognizing that we're at the top of the hour. Thank all of you for joining us today and for your thoughtful questions. And we're so glad to share our expertise in disability accessibility. And we hope that you will make a plan for how your business can become more accessible for people with disabilities. If you're interested in working with WID to evaluate the accessibility and create an effective solution, please reach out to me, kat@wid.org. And if you would like to support WID's work, please make a donation on our website, also pasted in the chat for you. Thank you so much, and I hope everyone has an amazing Global Accessibility Awareness Day.
Thank you for hosting, Kat.
Thank you, Kat. Bye-bye.
Well.